He went back to Apple, and then he did just incredible things, right?
What a loser.
In sports, they often say you have to lose the big one to win the big one. And we've seen that over and over in sports history. People will make it to the Super Bowl and lose, and then come back and just have a tear, right? Have amazing seasons. Well, good. So that's Jesus CEO. Love that book. Now I wanted to share something with you guys on a different topic. It's just a fun thing. I want to plant a seed. It won't take very long. I want to talk about liberty, American liberty. We all talk about our freedoms, right? But when you study the Founding Fathers, they were very clear that you can't have freedom without morality. And what does that mean? If we're all free to do whatever we want. So for example, those headphones, earpieces,
Yeah.
I want Ryan's earphones, and I'm free to do what I want, and I just take them. Well, that impacts his freedom, right? So we have to have a balance. We have to have freedom with morality. So the definition of freedom is the power or right to act with unrestricted use. I give them freedom of my house. You guys can do whatever you want, eat whatever's in the fridge. Freedom. Liberty, the difference between freedom and liberty is freedom from oppressive control imposed by others. So freedom is what I can do. Liberty is nobody can tell me what to do. But unbridled freedom, just like me taking Ryan's earphones, unbridled freedom creates chaos, right? We all have freedom of speech, but when we block the interstate to make our point, right, which we've seen, when we block the interstate to make our statement, that infringes on other people's freedom, creating chaos. Morality, run by fallible humans, fails. Liberty is the condition of freedom constrained by morality. Yes, Ryan.
I'm pretty sure the pastor's name was Tony Evans, but freedom, like unbridled freedom, is not freedom at all. Freedom is only able to be had in a bound of rules.
Interesting. Yeah. So George Washington, here's something else for you guys to do after you Google Coke. They didn't know the story that, remember when they got rid of the old Coke formula and went to new Coke, and just chaos, just the uproar over that? They hadn't heard of that, so they're going to look that up later. Something else I encourage you to do is read George Washington's farewell address. It's not terribly long, and it's really fascinating. I'll read some of it to you guys. So, President Washington, now he's went through the Revolutionary War, which started when?
1775?
Well, the Declaration of Independence was 76.
Right, but it's before that.
Yeah,
True. You know what? You're right. You're right. When did was it Concord? Lexington and Concord, wasn't that the first shots? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
no, well, they were the first shots, but I don't exactly know when it was.
I don't remember when it was.
1774, 1775,
Yeah.
something like that.
And the war doesn't end until what, like 87 or something?
Officially.
It took a long time because we didn't get our Constitution. We didn't form our government
Yeah.
until 87, I want to say, 1787.
Well, in 1789, George Washington was president, so
Yeah.
must have been around that time.
So 10, 13 years, and then he goes on to 8 years as president. So he's not like talking about, the last 2 weeks. He's talking about like the last 20 years plus. So some of the things he wrote in his farewell address: of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. What do we hear today over and over, right? Religion is bigoted. We have to separate church and state. No religion in the government. George Washington was saying that, where he used indispensable supports. In vain would that man claim the tribute of patriotism who should labor to subvert these great pillars of human happiness, these firmest props of the duties of men and citizens. The mere politician, equally with the pious man, ought to respect and to cherish them. What's that? Religion and morality. Whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on minds of peculiar structure, reason and experience, both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle. I'm sharing this because is this 180 degrees different than what we hear all day long? It is substantially true. The virtue of morality is a necessity spring of popular government. The rule indeed extends with more or less force to every species of free government. Who that is a sincere friend to it can look with indifference upon attempts to shake the foundation of the fabric. So let me just read that last sentence again. Who that is a sincere friend to it, right? Liberty. Who is a sincere friend of liberty can look with indifference upon the attempts to shake the foundation to the fabric. I want to challenge us. Don't be indifferent. It's okay to stand up. Morality matters. Our country, our liberty depends on morality. The Second Amendment, hot topic these days, right? School shootings and all that. We can't have the freedom to have guns without morality. So just using that, this topic isn't about Second Amendment, it's just a very current event. So what has to happen for us to keep our guns? We either have to have more morality, right? Because you can't have liberty without freedom. It's like an algebraic formula. Freedom plus morality equals liberty. So either we have to have more morality or we have to confiscate the guns. Or I guess the third option, continue to have school shootings every 3 months. And that's just one example. Are men men and women women? Are there 2 genders or are there 14? Morality matters. So here's some more thoughts by the Founding Fathers. Patrick Henry, who's he famous? What's he famous for? Say it a little louder, Trinity.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah. And they gave him death, right? They gave him a choice and they gave him death. All right, pow. Virtue, morality, and religion. This is the armor, my friend, and this alone that renders us invincible. These are the tactics we should study. So he's saying we should study morality. Is that crazy talk in this age? We should study morality. If we lose these, we are conquered, fallen indeed. So long as our manners and principles remain sound, there is no danger. So why do you think Satan is trying to just erode our morality? It is a wise plan, isn't it? If he can take out the undergirding of morality, he can take our liberty. And if he can take our liberty, then we won't have the resources to evangelize the world and all the things America does. It's a master plan, gang. John Adams. What are some of the things John Adams is famous for? He's president. What else?
Second president.
Second president.
Vice president.
First vice president. Ooh, That's a pretty nerdy little trivia thing.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure he's also the person who said that the vice president office wasn't worth a bucket of warm spit.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Wait, what?
That's pretty nerdy too.
He said that?
Yeah. I think so.
Wow.
So John Adams, our Constitution was made only for moral and religious people. Isn't that? Would he be run out of Stanford today? If he was
Pitchforks.
the president of Stanford or president of Harvard, would he be run out on the rails for saying that? That our Constitution was made only for the moral and religious people? It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. We're seeing that today.
Oh yeah.
Our Constitution for an immoral country is completely inadequate.
Yeah.
And he also said, liberty can no more exist without virtue and independence than the body can live and move without a soul. So these were just some things I wanted to share with you guys. I encourage you to look through the prism of freedom and morality when you're evaluating things you're seeing on the news. You know, what's the breakdown? We can't have both. We live in a great gang we love to study history, right? Oftentimes, many of us love history. We are living in time. Think of 20 years from now, looking back at this time. In your lifetimes, men can use the women's bathroom, right? Men can marry men. Women can marry women. What are some of the other crazy things we're seeing? We're banning guns. I don't want this to be a gun talk, but what are some of the other crazy things we're seeing?
Possible shutdown of Bibles in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah, outlawing Bibles in California. Opening the borders so anybody can come in. And the issue with that, I'll just throw this out, is America is successful because of our culture. When you water down the culture, you lose the secret sauce, right? You go from old Coke to new Coke. And it's not a racial thing, it's not a discrimination thing. Anybody is welcome if you're willing to come over and adopt our culture.
Yeah.
But if you want to come over and kill infidels, that's not part of our culture, right? So we're living in fascinating times. You guys are growing up in fascinating times. So I just encourage you, look at current events through the prism of freedom and morality. Well, that concludes May's topic. Good timing, Miss Cindy. What is next on the agenda?
Well, I'm going to take some ice cream upstairs, so come up in just a few seconds because we're going to have some, Mrs. Alvarado made brownies. You can put some vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce. So we'll get it ready. Come up in just a couple minutes.
We're working on topics for next year. We're looking forward to next year. Hope everybody comes back.
Yeah.
I have a tentative for a guy that teaches the Ramsey stuff, how to manage money, and he's agreed to come out. That'll be exciting.
And September is my choice.
And for September, there is no liberty in this household.
Ice cream making 101.
In September, we're gonna do some not auto maintenance. What do you call it? We're gonna
Remember when we did that?
do
Auto care.
auto care.
Yeah, like how
How
to,
to jump a car, how to
Wow.
change a tire,
Those are some life skills right
how to
there.
replace.
what do you do if you get in an accident?
What to do if you get in an accident? What to do when you get pulled over?
Especially young girls. I have a whole
Yeah.
topic for the girls on what to do if you
Wait, are
get
you gonna
pulled
be teaching
over.
us?
Pat your eyes and say, I'm sorry.
No. Make sure you're being pulled over by a legitimate officer and,
Same vehicle.
so, it'll be a fun year.
So, we're gonna do a fun session on communicating with different personalities. There's been lots of research, yeah, there's been a lot of research on different personalities, and generally they boil down to 4. People call them different things. Sometimes they give them animal names, color names, but it's always 4. And we're gonna talk about how to communicate differently, how we present our message differently to the different styles. Because you know what happens when we're not aware of this is we connect real well with 25% of the people with a similar style to us, right? And the more different they are from us, the harder we have connecting with them or conveying our message. And I give the example now, I don't want to teach a class now, but I took a graduate level interpersonal effectiveness class at the University of Illinois. And one of the things they had us do was we took this test, to see how we scored, and then we lined up by score. And we all knew each other. We were in our 2nd year of the program, so we'd been on teams together. We knew each other. And the professor said, look at those folks far